The air conditioning hits like a slap, raising goosebumps under my silk blouse. Mother's rose perfume mingles with hot camera bulbs and stale coffee, making my stomach turn. I grip the metal railing harder, letting its chill anchor me to reality while Father approaches the podium. As a family, we've always valued integrity and responsibility, he begins, voice steady as a surgeon's hand. The same voice that once read me bedtime stories now cuts me to pieces in front of 24 reporters. Which is why today's announcement brings us profound sorrow. Mother dabs at her eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. She's been practicing that move for hours. I recognize the precise angle, the delicate tremor in her manicured fingers. The cameras drink it up, click, click, clicking like hungry insects. Our daughter Lena's actions at last week's protest weren't just illegal. They were a betrayal of everything we stand for. Father's words float past me like dead leaves. I focus instead on the way his tie clip catches the light, counting the flashes. 1, 2, 3. The actions he refers to involved chaining myself to construction equipment at his latest development site. Prime wetland he's turning into luxury condos. The charges were dropped, but that hardly matters now. This press conference isn't about legal consequences. It's about control. Therefore, effective immediately, Lena will no longer have any connection to our family or business interests. Click, click, click. 4, 5, 6. We pray she finds her way back to the values that once defined her. A reporter's hand shoots up. Ms. Cunningham, how do you respond to your father's statement? I open my mouth, but Douglas, Father's head of security, shifts slightly beside me. A reminder of our agreement. I stay silent. They don't press charges against the other protesters. My friends? My cause? My client has no comment, says the family lawyer, right on cue. I wonder if he'll bill them for this performance. Mother steps forward, a vision of elegant grief in Chanel. We love our daughter, she says, voice breaking perfectly. This pains us deeply. 7, 8, 9 clicks. I search the crowd for Dalton's face, but he's not here. My fiancé, former fiancé, texted earlier about an emergency at work. Part of me is grateful. I'm not sure I could handle his sympathy right now. Those kind eyes that always see the best in my family. Even when there's nothing good to see. If anyone has further questions, Father gestures to his PR team, signaling the end. Reporters surge forward, shouting over each other. Douglas guides my parents toward the exit, their practiced sorrow dissolving into efficient movement. I remain at the railing, knuckles white against metal. A young photographer catches my eye, hesitates. I must look wild, dangerous. Good. Let them see something real in this theater of false grief. Lena, Mother's voice, soft but insistent. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. I turn to her, really look at her, past the perfect makeup and practiced concern. Was any of it real? I ask. Any of it at all? She flinches. The first genuine reaction I've seen today. Then the mask returns. You brought this on yourself, she whispers, and glides away. The press room empties quickly, leaving me alone with the hum of fluorescent lights and the ghost of rose perfume. My phone buzzes. Dalton. I silence it without looking. Whatever comfort he's offering, I can't bear it right now. Can't bear to think about the future we planned. The ring that suddenly feels too heavy on my finger. I stay until a janitor appears, pushing his cart with awkward apologetic glances in my direction. The metal railing has warmed to my touch. I release it slowly, flexing life back into my fingers. Outside, the autumn air tastes like freedom, like exile, like possibility. Father thinks he's written the end of my story today. But all I can think about is beginnings, and how the truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how deeply it's buried. I pull out my phone and dial Nora at the legal aid firm. She answers on the first ring. I saw the press conference, she says. What do you need? Everything, I tell her. I need everything you can find. Rain pelts my third-floor walk-up like tiny accusations. The window frame rattles. Everything in this place rattles, and I pull the scratchy wool blanket tighter, wondering if the charity shop smell will ever fade. 3 a.m. again, and sleep feels as distant as my old life. A knock startles me upright. Only one person would show up at this hour. I pad across worn linoleum, checking the peephole anyway. Old habits. You look terrible, Dalton says when I open the door, but his smile is gentle. He holds up a paper bag spotted with grease. Brought your favorite. The familiar scent of his cedar cologne fills my tiny kitchen as he unpacks containers of pad thai. You didn't have to, I say, but I'm already reaching for chopsticks. My stomach remembers that I skipped dinner. Again. Someone has to make sure you're eating. He touches my shoulder, fingers warm through my threadbare t-shirt. The brave, reckless fool I fell in love with needs actual food, not just righteous anger and coffee. I manage a weak smile. The coffee maker's the only thing that works properly in this place. Then it knows its priorities. He dishes out noodles, the movements so familiar they make my chest ache. How many late nights did we spend like this in my old apartment, planning our future between bites of takeout? The noodles are cold, but I force myself to eat. Dalton watches me, concern shadowing his features. Have you heard from Emma? Radio silence. I twirl the chopsticks, creating tiny tornadoes in the sauce. Father probably has her phone monitored now. Can't risk contamination from the family disgrace. Give them time. They're in shock. They're in character, I correct him. There's a difference. He sighs, running a hand through his hair. A nervous tell I used to find endearing. You did blindside them, love. Chaining yourself to construction equipment? That's not exactly subtle protest. Neither is destroying protected wetlands. The noodles stick in my throat. I push the container away. Why aren't you angry? This affects you too. The wedding, our plans. Because one of us needs to keep a clear head. He reaches across the table, takes my hand. His thumb traces circles on my palm like he's trying to smooth away the calluses from the chains. We'll figure it out. Different venue, smaller guest list. What matters is us. I want to believe him. Want to sink into his certainty like I used to. But something feels off, like a photo slightly out of focus. How can you be so calm about this? Because I love you. He says it simply, like it explains everything. Maybe it should. Your father will come around eventually. Until then, we adapt. Thunder crashes outside, making the windows rattle harder. Dalton glances at his watch. I should go. Early meeting tomorrow. Stay, I say, surprising myself. Please, the rain... He hesitates, and for a moment I see something flicker behind his eyes. Doubt? Guilt? But then he's smiling, pressing a kiss to my forehead. Can't, but I'll check on you tomorrow. I walk him to the door, watching as he disappears down the dim hallway. His cologne lingers, fighting a losing battle against the musty air and old takeout. Back in bed, I twist my engagement ring, watching it catch the gray light. The diamond feels heavier now, like it's trying to tell me something. About love, about loyalty, about things that change when you're not looking. My phone lights up with a text from Nora. Found something interesting in those permits. Coffee tomorrow? I text back one word. Early. The rain keeps falling. But it sounds different now. Less like accusations, more like whispers. Secrets trying to surface. I close my eyes, finally drifting towards sleep, while my ring catches streetlight like a question mark on my finger. You look like death warmed over, Nora announces, dropping another coffee on my desk. The cup joins a graveyard of empties. each ring on my desk marking another hour of staring at protest footage. Thanks. You always know just what to say. I rub my eyes, trying to focus on the drone feed playing across my monitor. The timestamp reads 2:47 p.m., less than an hour before my arrest. The sour taste of old coffee coats my tongue as I click through another angle. Seriously, when's the last time you slept? Nora perches on my desk, blocking the screen. We've been through this footage 50 times, and we'll go through it 50 more. I nudge her aside. Something's not adding up about those security response times. They were too coordinated, too quick. Like they knew exactly. I freeze the frame, squinting at a figure near the construction trailer. The image is grainy, but that stance, that walk. Can you enhance this section? Nora leans in, tapping keys. The image sharpens, and my stomach drops. A man in a charcoal suit stands apart from the chaos, his back to the camera as he speaks with Douglas. Even in profile, I'd know that jawline anywhere. Is that? Nora starts. Dalton. My voice sounds strange, distant. Play it forward. The footage continues in brutal clarity. Dalton shaking Douglas's hand, checking his watch, walking away just minutes before the security team descended on us. The same time he told me he was stuck in depositions across town. Lena. Nora's hand finds my shoulder. Go back. My fingers tremble as I scroll through earlier footage. There he is again at 1:15 p.m. and 12:30. Not just passing through, meeting, planning, coordinating. The diamond on my finger burns like ice. Maybe there's an explanation, Nora offers, but her tone says she doesn't believe it either. Oh, there's an explanation. I yank my engagement ring off, letting it clatter across the desk. He's been working with them the whole time, probably feeding them information about the protest plans. About me? The pieces slot together with sickening precision. His constant questions about our strategy meetings. His calm during the disownment. The way he always seemed to know exactly when to show up with comfort food and carefully crafted words. I'm going to be sick. I stumble to the bathroom, but nothing comes up. Just dry heaves and the taste of betrayal, bitter as day-old coffee. When I return, Nora has queued up more footage. There's more, she says quietly. Look at the timestamp on this one, 2 weeks before the protest. Dalton entering my father's office building. The same day he told me he was meeting clients in another city. Stop. I can't watch anymore. The fluorescent lights suddenly feel too harsh, too exposing. Just stop. What are you going to do? I stare at my ring, catching the artificial light like a curse. Nothing, yet. The fury building in my chest feels different from the rage that drove me to chain myself to construction equipment. This is colder, cleaner. He doesn't know we have this footage. Lena. Nora's voice carries a warning. He played me, Nora. They all played me. I pocket the ring, its weight now a reminder instead of a promise. And they're going to learn exactly how that feels. I turn back to the screen, watching my former fiancé shake hands with the man who would help arrest me hours later. The image burns itself into my retinas, a negative that flashes every time I blink. Send me everything, I tell Nora. Every frame, every timestamp. I want it all. She hesitates, then nods. Just be careful. These people, your father, Douglas, Dalton, they're used to playing dirty. Good. I close the footage, but the betrayal keeps playing behind my eyes. So am I. The office hums with fluorescent certainty as I begin to plan. Let Dalton bring his takeout and concern. Let him think his lies still land. I've learned from the best, after all. My family taught me exactly how to smile while holding a knife. Rain hammers my windows like nature's Morse code while I pace the length of my apartment. 12 steps, wall to wall, pivot, repeat. My phone burns against my ear as I lay it out for Nora. Let me get this straight, she says. voice tinny through the speaker. You want to leak everything? The permit irregularities, the security footage, the shell companies? All of it. I pause at the window, watching water distort the streetlights below. But slowly, strategically. Her laugh crackles through the connection. Girl, you've lost your mind. Your father's lawyers will bury us. Not if we're careful. Not if we do this right. Adrenaline floods my mouth with a metallic tang as I resume pacing. Think about it. Anonymous tips to different outlets. Breadcrumb trails leading to public records. Nothing that traces back to us. Us? The skepticism in her voice could cut glass. When did this become us? Since you helped me uncover half of it. Thunder punctuates my words. Come on, Nora. You've seen what they're capable of. The wetlands were just the beginning. Silence stretches between us, broken only by the storm's percussion. Finally, she sighs. Walk me through it again. The whole plan. I grab my laptop, pulling up the folder I've labeled Insurance. First, we leak the permit discrepancies to that environmental blogger you know. Once that gains traction, we follow with proof of the falsified environmental impact studies. And Dalton? My fingers clench around the phone. His part comes later, when it hurts most. Jesus, Lena. She pauses. You know this won't just hurt him, right? Emma's baby shower's next week. Your whole family. They stopped being my family the moment they chose their reputation over the truth. I open another file, this one filled with screenshots of damning emails. Besides, Emma made her choice. She won't even answer my texts. Because she's scared. Not everyone's built for war like you. I wasn't built for it either, I snap. They made me this way. Rain pelts harder, matching my pulse. I force myself to breathe, to focus. Look, I've already started compiling everything. Financial records, meeting minutes, security logs. It's all here, just waiting to be connected. And what about your connection to it? They'll know it was you. Let them. I touch my bare ring finger, the phantom weight still present. They taught me well. Everything documented, everything deniable. By the time they figure it out, the damage will be done. Nora's quiet for so long I check to make sure the call hasn't dropped. You really want to burn it all down, don't you? Not all of it. I open a final folder, this one containing photos from happier times. Family vacations, birthday parties, my engagement party. Just enough to make them feel what I felt. To make them understand what it's like when everything you believed in turns out to be a lie. Shit, she exhales heavily. Send me what you have. I'll look it over, but I'm not promising anything. Relief floods my system, making my hands shake. Thank you. Don't thank me yet. This could backfire spectacularly. It already has. I close the laptop, but the images stay with me. Dalton's smile in our engagement photos, now twisted with knowledge of his betrayal. They just don't know it yet. After we hang up, I stand at the window watching lightning split the sky. Each flash illuminates my reflection. Hollow-eyed, determined, dangerous. I barely recognize myself, but maybe that's the point. The old Lena died in that press conference, replaced by someone harder. Someone ready to play their game. My phone buzzes. Dalton, asking about dinner tomorrow. The same routine, the same lies. I text back a quick agreement, tasting adrenaline and possibility. Let him come with his concerned eyes and careful questions. Let him think he's still managing me, containing me. I've learned that revenge, like justice, is best served incrementally, one devastating revelation at a time. The storm rages on as I begin to sort through the evidence, each document a bullet in the chamber. Tomorrow, I'll smile for Dalton. Tonight, I build the gun. The sunroom reeks of artificial vanilla and dying fruit arrangements. I adjust my too-tight dress, feeling like an infiltrator among the pastel balloons and pearled guests. Mother's annual garden party crowd, all here to coo over Emma's impending motherhood. You came. Emma's voice is small, uncertain. She looks fragile in her flowing maternity dress, hands curved protectively over her bump. You invited me. I force a smile. Brave of you. I missed you. She glances toward Mother, holding court by the gift table. I hoped. Ladies, Mother's voice cuts through the tension. Present time. Emma squeezes my hand before waddling away. I drift to the back of the crowd, watching the performance unfold. Designer onesies, hand-knitted blankets, a silver rattle that probably costs more than my monthly rent. Due December 15th, Mother announces, reading from a gift card. How perfect. Just in time for Christmas. Something clicks in my brain. December 15th? I could swear Emma told me. A server passes with champagne. I grab a glass, using it as cover to edge closer to the gift table. There, Mother's personal note on expensive stationery, partially visible under a ribbon. Can't wait to meet our precious angel on November 24th. 3 weeks difference. Not a typo. Not a mistake. I scan the room with new eyes. Emma's forced smile. The way she keeps touching her stomach, like she's protecting more than just the baby. Mother's carefully orchestrated chatter, steering conversations away from due dates and timing. Wonderful party. Dalton materializes beside me, cedar cologne mixing with the cloying vanilla. Though you look like you're at a funeral, just thinking about family traditions. I sip champagne, watching Emma open another gift. Lies seem to be our favorite inheritance. He stiffens slightly. Don't start, Lena. Not here. Why not? It's practically a requirement for admission. I gesture at the room with my glass. Everyone here is pretending something. Including you? Especially me. I smile, all teeth. I'm pretending I don't know things that would make this lovely shower much more interesting. Before he can respond, Emma calls out, Lena, come see what Aunt Margaret brought. I weave through the crowd, noting how they part around me like I'm contagious. Emma holds up a handmade quilt, her fingers trembling slightly. Beautiful, I say, but I'm watching her face. When did you say you were due again? Oh, her eyes dart to Mother. December, around Christmas. Right, of course. I touch the quilt's soft edge. Though November would be lovely too. Thanksgiving baby and all that. The color drains from her face. Behind us, a glass shatters. Mother, her perfect mask slipping for just a moment. I need some air, Emma mumbles, struggling to stand. Let me help. I take her arm, feeling her pulse race beneath my fingers. As we pass Mother, I catch her eye. Don't worry, I'm just taking care of my sister. That's what family's for, right? In the hallway, Emma sags against the wall. How did you... No? I pay attention. I keep my voice gentle, though triumph sings through my veins. The question is, does your husband know the real due date? Please, she whispers. Please don't. Relax. I squeeze her hand, an echo of her earlier gesture. Your secrets are safe with me. For now. She looks at me then, really looks at me, and I see understanding dawn in her eyes. She's always been smarter than they gave her credit for. What do you want? Nothing yet? I smooth her dress, straighten her hair. Just remember this moment, Emma. Remember who kept your secret when everything else comes out. Back in the sunroom, the party continues its choreographed perfection. Mother has replaced her broken glass, restored her composure. Dalton watches me with worried eyes. I raise my champagne in a silent toast, savoring the way uncertainty ripples through the room. Let them wonder what I know. Let them feel the weight of their own lies pressing down like overripe fruit, sweet and rotting and inevitable. My phone vibrates against the cheap desk, each buzz like a heartbeat. I've been staring at the send button for 20 minutes, cursor hovering over the carefully crafted email. Drone footage, financial records, And one devastating video of Dalton with Douglas, all packaged neat as a bomb. Last chance to back out, Nora says from her desk. She's been watching me like I might explode. Instead of answering, I click send. The whoosh of the outgoing email feels like a physical force. 5 minutes later, my phone lights up with the first confirmation. Receipt of materials acknowledged. Will review. It's done. My voice sounds strange, hollow. 3 major outlets, plus that blogger you know. And Emma? Nora's tone is careful, measured. You're sure about that part? I pull up my second email draft. This one's shorter, just enough hints about conflicting due dates to send any decent reporter digging. The gossip columnist I've chosen has a particular talent for making private pain public spectacle. They made their choices. I hit send again. Now they live with them. The first hour crawls by like glass across skin. I pretend to work on case files while obsessively refreshing news sites. Nora brings coffee I don't drink, my stomach too knotted with anticipation. Then it happens. Breaking. Major developer linked to environmental fraud. The headline fills my screen, followed by screenshots from the drone footage. My phone buzzes. A text from Dalton. Have you seen this? I don't respond. 10 minutes later, another headline. Security firm implicated in protest suppression. The article includes a perfectly clear image of Dalton shaking Douglas's hand. My phone explodes. Dalton again. We need to talk. Mother. What have you done? Emma. Please tell me this isn't you. The gossip column drops next. Society wedding drama. Pregnant bride's timeline doesn't add up. Complete with photos from the baby shower, speculation about paternity, quotes from anonymous sources close to the family. Jesus, Nora whispers, reading over my shoulder. You really did it. No, I correct her, watching notifications stack up like bodies. They did it. I'm just the messenger. Father's name appears on my phone. For a moment, I'm tempted to answer, to hear what righteous fury sounds like when it's directed at the worthy target. Instead, I silence the ringer and pull up the news sites again. The stories are spreading, multiplying. Each outlet adds new details, new angles. Someone's dug up photos of Emma's husband at a resort with his secretary 3 months before the wedding. Another reporter has connected Douglas to a series of suspicious property acquisitions. Your father's stock is dropping, Nora notes, monitoring the financial sites. Shareholders are getting nervous. The bitter taste of victory fills my mouth, sharp as copper. I think of Emma, probably crying in her perfect nursery. Of Mother, watching her carefully curated social circle dissolve into scandal. Of Dalton, finally facing consequences for his calculated betrayal. My phone buzzes again, a number I don't recognize. The voicemail notification pops up immediately after. I play it on speaker. Ms. Cunningham, this is Sandra from the Herald. We're running a follow-up piece and would love your comment on the developing situation with your family's company. 3 more messages like it follow. Reporters, producers, bloggers, all hungry for the insider angle. I forward them to Nora's carefully created email account, the one we'll use to feed them information in strategic drops. Phase 2? She asks. I nod, pulling up the next folder of evidence. Let's see how they handle the financial records. A text from Emma makes me pause. Why? I trusted you. The words blur on my screen. For a moment, I remember her at the shower, one hand protective over her secret. But then I remember other things. Her silence during my disownment, her perfectly rehearsed shock at the press conference, years of watching her choose comfort over truth. Because trust should be earned, I type back, then delete it. Better to let her wonder, let her feel the uncertainty that's been my constant companion. I turn back to the financial records, each spreadsheet a new weapon in my arsenal. The news alerts keep coming, each one a small victory, each buzz of my phone another nail in the coffin of their carefully constructed lies. Let them burn. Let them all burn. The news anchor's voice fills my apartment, competing with the autumn wind whistling through my half-open window. Breaking updates in the developing scandal surrounding prominent developer Charles and his family's business interests. My phone lights up again. Dalton's 20th voicemail in 2 hours. I let it ring while the anchor continues. New evidence suggests systematic fraud in environmental reporting, with security personnel actively coordinating to suppress peaceful protests. The breeze carries exhaust fumes and dying leaves as I press play on his latest message. Lena, please, you have to help me explain. They're saying things about my involvement that aren't entirely. Just call me back. Please. The desperation in his voice would have gutted me a month ago. Now it feels like justice, sharp and clean as the October air against my face. My laptop chimes with another email alert. 3 more outlets have picked up the story. The anchor's voice rises with fresh urgency. Sources now confirm multiple instances of falsified documentation, with implications reaching into the highest levels of local government. I delete Dalton's message without saving it, my hands steady against the rough grain of the window frame. The wood catches at my skin like tiny teeth as footage plays across my TV screen. Security camera views of Douglas entering city offices, time-stamped photos of private meetings, drone shots from the protests now familiar as my own reflection. Your father's legal team has declined to comment, the anchor says, but shareholders are responding. Stock prices have fallen 30% since markets opened. Another voicemail. You've destroyed everything. Mother's voice, ice cold and precise. I hope you're satisfied with what you've done to this family. I saved that one. The TV switches to live footage outside father's office building. Reporters swarm the entrance like angry wasps. Microphones thrust toward Douglas as he pushes through the crowd. The camera catches his face in perfect clarity, that mask of control finally cracking around the edges. My phone buzzes again. Dalton's face appears on the screen. Not a voicemail this time. A text? They're saying I could face criminal charges. Please. I know you're behind this. I know you have proof of what really happened. I can explain everything. I screenshot the message before blocking his number. Evidence, like revenge, should be preserved carefully. The wind picks up, scattering papers across my desk, printouts of email chains, bank statements, meeting minutes. Each page a bullet I fired into the heart of their carefully constructed world. My sister's scandal seems almost quaint now, buried under headlines about corporate fraud and environmental crimes. Emergency board meetings have been called, the anchor continues. Sources indicate major shareholders are demanding immediate leadership changes. A new alert pops up on my laptop. Security camera footage from the office building lobby, timestamp from 10 minutes ago. Father storming out, his face twisted with rage. Mother following, her perfect composure finally shattered. The footage is already spreading across social media, accompanied by gleeful commentary. I rest my forehead against the window frame, letting the rough wood ground me as their empire burns. The city sprawls below, oblivious and eternal, while somewhere in its maze of streets, my family is watching their world collapse. Emma texts next. The hospital called Mom. They're going to release my actual due date to verify the timeline. I hope you're happy. I am happy, I realize. Not the clean happiness of victory, but something darker, more complicated, like blood returning to a numbed limb, painful and necessary and alive. The anchor's voice rises one final time. This just in. The board has announced an emergency suspension of operations pending full investigation. I close the window, shutting out the wind and the city's breath. The TV continues its autopsy of my family's disgrace, while I pour myself a drink, the whiskey burning like truth down my throat. Let them scramble. Let them panic. Let them feel the walls closing in, the way I did in that press conference months ago. I've given them exactly what they taught me. that power is nothing but secrets wrapped in lies, and every fortress falls when its foundation cracks. The diner's neon sign buzzes like a tired insect, casting pink shadows across the cracked parking lot. Inside, ancient ceiling fans stir the scent of burnt coffee and decades of fried food. Nora slides into the booth across from me, eyeing the untouched plate of fries between us. "Emma's gone," she says, without preamble. "Packed up last night. Someone saw her and the husband loading suitcases into an SUV around midnight." I drag a fry through a pool of ketchup, watching the red spread like a stain. Smart. Getting ahead of the gossip. "Your mother's canceled her annual charity gala. First time in 20 years. Nora steals a fry, considering me. "Your father's been suspended pending investigation. Board's already appointed an interim CEO. And Dalton?" "Law firm asked for his resignation this morning. Apparently they don't appreciate partners who conspire to suppress peaceful protests." She pauses. "He's been trying to reach me, you know. Wants to explain his side." The salt burns my cracked lips as I laugh. "I'm sure he does. Everyone wants to explain once they're caught." Outside, a truck rumbles past, its headlights sweeping across the grimy windows. The waitress tops off our coffee with mechanical efficiency, not bothering to ask if we want it. "You don't feel anything?" Nora asks after she's gone. "About any of it?" I consider the question, tasting salt and grease on my tongue. "I feel clean, like after cauterizing a wound. It hurts, but the bleeding stops." "That's not healing, Lena." "No," I agree, "but it's surviving." My phone lights up. Another news alert. Someone's leaked photos of Emma's husband with his secretary, dated timestamps proving the affair. The comments are brutal, gleeful, spreading like wildfire across social media. "I didn't leak those," I say before Nora can ask. "Didn't have to." Once people start digging, they find all sorts of buried things. Speaking of buried things, she pulls out her tablet, sliding it across the sticky table. "Your father's development projects are being audited. They're finding similar patterns at other sites. Environmental reports doctored, permits rushed through, indigenous artifacts conveniently missed in surveys. Let me guess. Douglas handled the security for all of them? Until yesterday. He's taking an indefinite leave of absence." She makes air quotes with greasy fingers. "Your father's whole empire is unraveling, thread by thread." I should feel something more, I think. Triumph, maybe, or satisfaction. Instead, there's just this vast, calm emptiness where the rage used to live. "The wetlands project is dead," Nora continues. "Environmental groups are already talking about restoration plans. They want to name it after the protest movement." "Don't let them use my name," I say quickly. "I don't want... That's not why I did this." "Why did you do it then?" The question hangs between us like smoke. Outside, the neon sign flickers, dying and reviving with stubborn persistence. "Because lies should have consequences," I finally say. "Because some things matter more than family loyalty or social standing or..." I twist my bare ring finger, phantom weight still present. "Or love that turns out to be strategy." Nora reaches across the table, squeezing my hand. Her fingers are warm, solid, real. "What now?" "Now?" I look past her, through the smudged window to where the horizon is just beginning to lighten. Now I build something new. Something true. "Careful," she warns, but she's smiling. "You're starting to sound like one of those motivational posters in the break room." God forbid. I pop another fry in my mouth, letting the salt sting my lips. But maybe that's not the worst thing. Building instead of burning. My phone buzzes one last time. An unknown number. The voicemail notification appears immediately after. I delete it without listening, already knowing what it contains. More explanations. More justifications. More lies dressed up as truth. The horizon keeps lightening, pink as the diner's neon, clean as a cauterized wound. I lick salt from my fingers and face it squarely, tasting possibility sharp and real on my tongue. Let them run. Let them hide. Let them rebuild from the ashes of their own making. I have horizons to chase, and my hands are finally free.